That's the second time I've done this. All right. Hello, everyone. Uh, Let me make sure I can see myself on YouTube. Hopefully, this stream is going with no technical glitches. That has happened recently, and I've learned that you can't have too many applications running when you are running StreamYard and YouTube. So let me make sure this is broadcasting okay and everyone can hear me. I was going to do this one at 4 p.m. Eastern time, but I decided to just go ahead and soldier through now so that I can go ahead and watch the football games. Okay. All right. And I see YouTube has slapped on the disclaimer there at the beginning regarding hot and nuclear science related events. You know, I've been doing a lot of thinking about what I can do to get this channel to pop. Science topics are tricky, especially if you're an unknown, because they're educational topics. Okay, this isn't celebrity gossip. This isn't sports. This isn't music. This isn't number 45. And I've had 1,000 subscribers on this channel for a while, but I realized that I haven't gotten a video to go into the thousands here yet. And I think that's by nature of these being science topics. These are educational topics. Now, going forward, I do have guests that I want to bring on. So what you will see here is me bringing on more interesting guests to interview and to talk with. So in YouTube, you grow through the algorithm. You grow through already having a reach if you have one. And you also grow through collaboration. So I want to up my collaboration game over here. Someone here in the chat is, Aquateki. What's going on, Aquateki? Thank you for stopping through. I'm going to make an announcement over on my original Big Discussions 76 channel in case anyone wants to come over here and learn something about what's happening in the science world. Oh, I have some more likes. Likes are good. Likes are always welcome. Yeah, YouTubing is fascinating. Over on my sports channel, most of you know I'm a Michigan alum, and we have a quarterback controversy on our football team. So in sports, it's really easy to get things to go viral and to catch the algorithm so that a video or a stream takes off. If you're talking about relationship stuff, it's really easy to get that stuff to take off and go viral. If you're talking about the president or politics or current events, it's really, really easy to get things like that to take off and go viral. But science topics are a little more tricky. And one of the bigger content creators, Aaron Clary, he actually told me that a good segment of the population is not smart enough or interested in enough to consume and digest this type of information. Okay, let me make this announcement because I'm rambling. All right. Let's see. Give that a like. Akuteki says, it takes a certain type of person to appreciate science and technology subjects. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. And you also have to make it digestible for the general public. Right now, I won't go into too many details, but I'm becoming interested in science communication, whether it be by video. I mean, I'm doing that now, in science writing, but in terms of a career. I don't think any of my coworkers are watching this, but I am pondering some shifts in my career, and I think I'm interested in doing this type of thing. I'm not saying that because I have a YouTube channel, but I'm more interested in all science topics and science news and innovations, and I'm interested in the communication side of it. I'm already a writer. So anyhow, I am going to play the intro, and then I have a couple of things that I'm going to read. Most of these are short pieces. Hopefully you guys hang out to the end. If there are people here at the end, I'll open it up in case someone wants to come up and say something or say something about something else. So you guys know the routine. I don't have a super chat over here yet, or AdSense. So if anyone wants to donate something, my Cash App and PayPal are here. But just having your eyeballs here, that's good. That's cool for me. But any support definitely helps. Okay. UFO Kamikaze says, reviewing news clips of natural disasters and technological advances from a scientific perspective will attract her. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. So I'm going to play the intro, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Hey guys, as that intro was playing, I was also thinking that another reason, and UFO Kamikaze, I'm going to read this again. Thank you for the suggestion. He says, Reviewing news clips of natural disasters and technological advances from a scientific perspective will attract a larger audience. So one of the other tricky parts of creating science content, if as you guys can see, if you're watching on the YouTube side, YouTube slapped on this little disclaimer, or this little COVID-19 blurb that they put on content that they kind of want to control. They don't just do this to me. They put that on Dr. John Campbell's videos as well. So I'm saying this to say that you kind of have to be careful of what you present here, because the YouTube algorithm or whoever is running the platform, if they don't like what you're saying, they'll snatch it down. So I've learned that there's a bit of a dance here in terms of what you can talk about, what you can present, and what you can't. So, and I've also learned recently that when you're YouTubing, when you're doing live streams, you don't want to have too many applications running, because your computer only has so much memory and so much space to do what you want it to do. Okay, so this first piece I'm going to take a look at. It involves pharmacology. So we're going to talk about the immunization just briefly. You know, I'm not going to use the V word, but we're going to talk about the immunization into the YouTube algorithm and those running YouTube. This is for educational purposes only. This is science news. I'm not telling anyone that they should take a medication or that they shouldn't. As a disclaimer, this is just science news, but this is a pharmacology story. And this came out around the time of my birthday. August was kind of a slow month here. I took 2 trips, so it was hard to create content. But this is a pharmacology story. And I also realized that I did write something on pharmacology on my blog. This is not below in the description box yet, but in case you're unfamiliar with pharmacology. Oh, hold on for 1 second. Hey, sorry about that. Sorry, I got a phone call that I had to take. All right, pharmacology. So I did write a piece on my blogging platform, my original blogging platform. I have 2 now on pharmacology, and the whole purpose for writing this was to show my writing chops, but also to make some of this science more understandable to the general public. So this post talks about what pharmacology is, the immunization. That's a pharmacology story. And immunization is a form of pharmacology because you're creating a therapeutic to protect your body against a particular contagion. It won't stop you from getting sick, which has been part of the controversy of this contagion and this immunization, but you're creating a therapeutic to help your body better fight off a foreign invader. So I'm going to leave this in the chat right now. And then on the playback of the video, I'm going to try to make a note to myself to leave it in the description box. I wrote this up to be very, very, I wrote this up for the layperson so that he or she could understand what pharmacology is. Okay. So this first piece is entitled, and I thought this was fascinating. This first piece is entitled, Moderna sues Pfizer over the immunization vaccine patents. Once again, to the YouTube algorithm, this is science news. This is for educational purposes only. And this is a few weeks old, but as a pharmacologist, if you're on the drug side, and I'm working on getting back into the drug side now, when you create a drug, you're creating what we call intellectual property. And that's the same thing as creating an operating system or an app or a new device. There's a patent on that. A certain amount of time was invested in creating that new gadget or that new software or that new app. So a drug is the same way, and immunization is the same way. So this, and if you recall, Pfizer and Moderna, they came up with two similar immunization strategies. So this reads as follows. Okay, this was the day after my birthday. That immunization maker Moderna announced Friday that it's suing rival drug makers Pfizer and BioNTech for patent infringement. The lawsuit alleges the two companies used certain key features of technology Moderna developed to make their immunization for C19. It argues that Pfizer and BioNTech's vaccine infringes patents Moderna filed between 2010 and 2016 for its messenger RNA or mRNA technology. And that technology is under a lot of scrutiny right now. There are a lot of questions as to, does that technology really work? And is it, I'm going to be careful here, everyone. Is the purpose for this, is the intended purpose for these mRNA immunizations the actual purpose? The actual purpose is the intended purpose that they're telling us the actual purpose, or is it for something else? I'm being very, very careful about speculating on that. All three companies, immunizations, used mRNA technology, which is a new way to make immunizations. In the past, immunizations were generally made using parts of a virus or an inactivated virus to stimulate an immune response. If you recall, there was a bit of a controversy because the J&J used that latter strategy. Okay, and that one got discouraged and it got taken, it was made less popular. Okay, and I'm going to stop there because I cut off a clip of me and Nicole Ali talking about this, and YouTube took it down and took the channel down. So this is a new strategy. That's what I'm trying to say. With mRNA technology, the immunization uses messenger RNA created in a lab to send genetic instructions that teach our cells to make a protein or part of a protein that triggers an immune response. So in this case, it's the spike protein. In October 2020, Moderna pledged not to enforce its C19 related patents while the pandemic was ongoing, according to a statement from the company. In March this year, it said that it will stick to its commitment not to enforce its C19 related patents in low and middle income countries, but expects rival companies like Pfizer to respect its intellectual property. So that's a big deal as well. Um, the pharmaceutical companies, whether or not they gave discounts or gave free batches of their immunizations to lower income countries, and they were under scrutiny for that. Did they want to charge full price, or would they do the humane thing and give a reduced price to those who can't really afford it, or who could afford it to a lesser extent? Okay. Moderna is not seeking to remove the Pfizer and BioNTech immunization from the market, but it is seeking monetary damages. Moderna is filing the lawsuits against Pfizer and BioNTech in the U.S. District Court in Massachusetts and the Regional Court of Dusseldorf in Germany. A Pfizer spokesperson said in a statement, the company has not yet fully reviewed the complaint, but is confident in our intellectual property supporting the Pfizer BioNTech immunization and will vigorously defend against the allegations of the lawsuit. Okay, so once again, when you create a drug, you're creating intellectual property. And the patent protects the intellectual property for X number of years. And in those years, pharmaceutical companies have to try to recoup that money, which is why some medications cost a lot of money in the short term, and then the price drops because the patent expires and everybody can manufacture it. Thank you to everyone who is here. Please hit that like button if you haven't. And once again, if you want to make a donation, my Cash App and PayPal are there. I'm just reading up on some science news. I'm hoping to have some guests to the channel soon. If you haven't, please take a look at my interview with Timothy Newsome, who is a retired running back from the Dallas Cowboys. I went to Dallas at the end of July to interview Timothy. He has a technology firm called New Tech Business Solutions, and he played for the Dallas Cowboys. And in that interview, we talked about his education. We talked about his days playing for the Cowboys. And then we talked about his technology firm, New Tech Business Solutions. So there's a lot there. I uploaded the segment about his business. I uploaded that here on this channel. It should be the video before this stream. And there's some meat there. There's how he started his business, the key to starting a business, and also what his business does in terms of technology and software. So I know I have a lot of tech people here. So check that out, please. Give it some views and give it some more likes. Okay, so that's that piece. So this one involves the White House, and it involves Dr. Fauci, who I think is going to retire soon. Once again, YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. I am not rendering medical advice. This is science news. Yeah, guys, if you have comments, light the chat up. Let me know what you think. Ask questions, tell jokes, whatever you want. But just the engagement would really, really help. Let's see. So this was on September 6th. That was Tuesday. This is entitled, once again, YouTube, I'm not rendering advice here. This is an article. This is science news. Okay, the title reads, "Get the new Omicron booster and a flu shot," the White House says. The White House is saying this. Aquateki, thank you for the Cash App. Your support is always much appreciated. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Let me see. Some of you guys are regulars. Let me make sure you guys have wrenches. Aquateki has a wrench. UFO Kamikaze, I'm going to give you a wrench right now. You're a regular over here, and I need to reward the regulars. Yeah, because you guys could be somewhere else doing something else right now. CR Frank, I'm going to give you a wrench as well. Okay. Thank you once again, Aquateki. This was written by Alexander Nazarian, senior White House correspondent. Okay. The new C-19 immunizations that gained final approval last week mark a new stage in the fight against the disease, top Biden administration health officials said during a Tuesday press briefing. And guys, you wonder, looking at the world, looking at what's going on, you wonder, I've asked this question before, is it still going on? I mean, fewer people are wearing face coverings. I flew from DC to Dallas and then to Phoenix and then back to DC and then up to Buffalo and then down to Atlanta and then back to DC. And people weren't really worried about face coverings. So you just wonder, is it still going on? Okay. Let me know you think there in the chat. Okay. Originally issued in late 2020, the C-19 immunizations have now been updated to target the BA4 and BA5 strains of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus, which have been dominant this year. YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. For a large majority of Americans, we are moving to a point where a single annual C-19 shot could provide a high degree of protection against serious illness all year, said Dr. Ashish Jha, the White House Pandemic Response Team Coordinator, said. Jha called the new immunizations a major milestone, even as he cautioned that variant curveballs could scuttle hopes for bolstered immunity. There's Mr. Jha. I'm sorry, there's Dr. Jha right there. For the first time since December 2020, these immunizations, our immunizations, have caught up with the virus, Jha said, noting that the United States is the first nation to develop an Omicron-specific vaccine. He added that the Biden administration is coordinating with states and municipalities to distribute the immunization at tens of thousands of locations in the coming days. As was the case earlier with C-19 immunization efforts, inoculations will be free. All people age 12 and older are eligible. We likely are moving towards a path with a immunization cadence similar to that of the annual influenza immunization, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the president's top pandemic advisor, said. In the coming months, pharmacies are expected to offer the C-19 and flu immunizations in tandem in hopes of avoiding a twindemic caused by two respiratory viruses circulating at the same time. That sounds exciting. I really believe this is why God gave us two arms, Jha quipped, one for the flu shot and the other for the C-19 shot. Targeting the new immunizations to the strains circulating today is an implicit bet that the virus will continue to evolve along the Omicron path, not in some new unpredictable direction. Get your updated C-19 immunization as soon as you are eligible, Fauci said, reminding people that the immunizations have been demonstrated to be safe and effective. And again, I know a lot of people have not taken those, and I'm not telling people you should or you shouldn't. I'm just reporting on the science news here. If the virus experiences only what Fauci called a minor drift from BA5 to the bivalent, if the virus experiences only what Fauci called a minor drift from BA5, the bivalent immunization should be able to recognize the difference. But Fauci, who has been battling infectious disease for 4 decades, warned that the pathogen originally known as SARS-CoV-2 could evolve in ways that render current immunizations ineffective. If that happens, all bets are off and we change, Fauci said. Josh said the goal was to develop immunizations that don't require constant updates. We need to get to the point where we have variant proof immunizations. We have mucosal immunizations. We need to play the long game against this virus, he said. For months, the Biden administration has been asking Congress for additional funding to develop new immunizations and ensure pandemic readiness. Those pleas have not been met with success on Capitol Hill. Okay. UFO Kamikaze says, I have customers/clients who work for Moderna. We've had a few conversations about current events off record. Yep. And, in many instances, in many regards today, that's the safest way to have conversations is off record. Aquateki says, I'm still rocking my mask at work and in public. Aquateki, I've gotten a little bit slack myself. I carry it around in my back pocket when I go out places, but I've lost that vigilance in terms of wearing it. I try to wear it on the airplane, but it's just that urgency nationwide has kind of subsided. Okay. Thank you once again for the donation, Aquatech. If anyone else wants to donate, my information is there in the chat. So let's move on. Let's take a look over across the ocean to the Far East and China. And I thought this was interesting because one of the questions is, would the United States do another lockdown? And conventional wisdom says no, because our economy couldn't take another one. But it sounds like over in China, they're still locking people down. So let's see what's happening over there. And this also, one of the bigger content creators, the master teacher, he's discussed how the fact that with the war going on and with China being locked down, that's indirectly affecting the energy prices. So if China was open, there'd be more stress on the petroleum products, and we'd see it at the gas pump. But since they're closed, since they're locked down, they're not using as much petroleum products and fossil fuels, which is good for us. If you're new to the channel and the algorithm has brought you here, please consider hitting that like button. One thing I don't understand about YouTube, I don't know if subs just get frustrated and unsubscribe, or if YouTube just arbitrarily unsubscribes people from you. This channel was up above, just above 1,200, and then it slowly started losing people, and I don't know why that happens. But some viewers get frustrated. Some viewers, they just get frustrated and they unsubscribe for whatever reason. This one is entitled, this is from Reuters. This was on September 2nd. Shenzhen shuts most public transportation as China battles multiple outbreaks. So it sounds like they're still in China. They're still going through it. Hey, the All-Star Advisor has stopped through. Alonzo, we need to link up again. Anytime you want to come talk about insurance over on my original channel, you're welcome to do so, as that's an important topic people need to know about. I want to make Alonzo a moderator too. Okay. So this one, so apparently they're still going through it in China. And I don't know if they have a variant over there that's more deadly than what we have here, or they're overreacting, or we're just not paying attention anymore over here. I don't know. I don't know. Well, let's read about this. But in any case, lower energy prices are good. Okay, there you can see someone in China getting tested right there in their mouth. So I don't know if that's a new test. Okay. Um, the main districts of the Chinese tech hub Shenzhen shut down public transport and extended curbs on public activities on Friday as cities across China battled C-19 outbreaks that have dampened the outlook for economic recovery. So apparently economically China's going through it as well. So everybody on the planet right now is going through it in some way, shape, or form. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. The likes are free. If you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. Six districts comprising the majority of the city's population of almost 18 million announced that all residents will be tested twice for C-19 over the weekend as subway and bus services were suspended. So they don't want anybody going anywhere. Okay. At the time this was published. And the other thing, at my current place of employment, we're getting emails all the time of someone testing positive. So in my current place of employment, we're doing a hybrid thing where we are, for the most part, working remotely, but some employees are coming in twice per pay period, while others have opted to stay home permanently. Some have opted to stay home permanently. But I'm saying this to say that every day there's an email coming saying someone tested positive in the building. So who knows what's going on now. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. The engagement helps and the likes are free. Employees should work from home with the exception of those in self-contained closed loop operations, essential supplies, and public services. In the southwestern metropolis of Chengdu, which put its 21 million people under a lockdown on Thursday, factories, including plants run by auto giants Toyota and Volkswagen, kept production running under closed loops. I'm not sure what closed loops means in this context. Curbing movements of millions of people intensifies the challenge for China to cushion the economic impact of a dynamic zero COVID policy that has kept its borders mostly shut to international visitors and made it an outlier as other countries learn to live with the coronavirus. China has given little indication of any plans to pull back on its stringent controls. Economists at Nomura said in a Friday report that market expectations for easing once China's ruling Communist Party completes a once in 5 years Congress in October are optimistic. Okay, so they're forecasting more economic pain over there. Nomura expects COVID curbs to remain at least until March. Wow. When the annual parliamentary session takes place. Even then, we expect the economy and markets to experience a difficult period as people will be either disappointed about no real opening or be overwhelmed by a surging COVID infection, the economists wrote. The world's second biggest economy slowed sharply in the second quarter due to widespread lockdowns and a nascent third quarter recovery and a nascent third quarter recovery appears in danger of stalling. We believe markets still underestimate the severity of this round. Nomura wrote, China's blue chip stocks sagged on Friday. Okay, this one's almost done. Okay. In Shenzhen on Thursday, city officials sought to quell rumors that a full lockdown was imminent. In March, the city swiftly locked down for a week to fight community infections. They said people could leave and return to their homes with proof of a test result less than 24 hours old. We need to get the virus under control. We can't just give up like some countries, said a woman surnamed Tang, volunteering to help food deliveries at a lockdown housing compound in Fujian, Shenzhen's hardest hit district. But I know when it will end, but I don't know when it will end. It's really hurting businesses. On Friday, officials reported 87 new locally transmitted C-19 infections in Shenzhen for Thursday, up from 62 a day earlier. 8 of the new cases were outside quarantine areas. Okay, we're almost done here. Closed loops. Guys, hold on for a second. All right, I'm back. Hey, Kareem, thank you for stopping through. All right. In Chengdu, uncertainty remained over whether the lockdown would be lifted after daily mass testing ends on Sunday. The city reported 150 new local cases for Thursday, compared with 157 a day earlier. Non-essential employees in Chengdu were told to work from home, while manufacturers capable of managing on closed campuses were exempted from work from home requirements. Toyota Motors Chengdu plant, which has an annual production capacity of 105,000 vehicles, was operating normally and inside a closed loop at the request of the Sichuan province government, a company official told Reuters. A Volkswagen plant in Chengdu that makes the Sagittar and Jetta models has been operating in a closed loop since Thursday. A Volkswagen China representative told Reuters Foxconn was continuing to operate a plant that makes Apple iPads in the city, Bloomberg reported. However, Sweden's Volvo Cars, majority owned by China's Zhejiang Geely Holding Group, has shut its Chengdu plant, a company spokesperson said on Thursday. Okay, so that's below in the description box. So China's still going through it. They're locking down in different cities and different regions. I don't know what that means for us here. And I don't know that our country would have the will or the desire to do that again. Either they have a particularly nasty strain of it over there that we don't have. It sounds like they've shut down flights over there. Or they're just being very, very cautious and protective. Okay, so this last one is going to involve something that's been happening here. As I said, I was traveling in August, so I didn't really get to talk about this, but I'm gonna Read something on the Jackson water crisis. There's been a lot of talk and speculation over that crisis and why it's taking place and why it's happened, similar to Flint. But I'm going to read something on that because this is in part a science story. As humans, we can go a little while without clean water. We can go less time without oxygen. But certainly in a civilized society, clean water to drink and to use is absolutely critical. So, and actually, I'm in the DMV. Baltimore recently had a bit of a water crisis because because E. coli was detected in their water. So there's something happening in these predominantly black cities and municipalities. I don't know why. I don't know why there was lead in Flint. I don't know why they had this infrastructure breakdown in Jackson. It looks like the one in Baltimore with the E. coli has cleared up. But let's read about what's happening in Jackson right now. Again, water. Our bodies are 70% water. Many of our biological processes depend upon water, having clean water. And so I can't imagine what the people in Jackson are going through. I'm going to wet my palate really quickly here, then I'll power through this one. This will be the last one. And if folks want to come up and talk and say something, you will be welcome to do so. This one is entitled Running Water Returns to Mississippi. I'm sorry, running water returns in Mississippi capital, but it's still undrinkable. A boil water notice remains a majority black city, and a long-term solution remains elusive. That looks like Eric Dampier. Yep, that's Eric Dampier. He used to play for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Okay, hold on. I'm seeing my antenna signal here. Okay, it's gone. That is Eric Dampier. He played for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and I believe he was drafted by the Indiana Pacers. I don't think he had a long NBA career, but you could see him there. He's with a member of Omega Sci-Fi, and they're out delivering water and volunteering. Hey, let me know if you know anyone who was impacted by this water crisis. So let me know that they're in the chat, or if you know someone who knows someone who's been impacted. Let's see. Aquateki says America is not investing in its infrastructure, particularly in older cities. Now, yeah, I guess that's part of what the president proposed in his Build Back Better bill / legislation. It's not just roads and train tracks and bridges, but also water, providing clean water to the population. But I've also heard that in this particular instance in Jackson, there's an ulterior motive, which I will not get into in this stream. Okay. Residents in Jackson, the majority black capital city of Mississippi, now have water coming out of their taps once again, but are still having to boil it before drinking it, as they have had to intermittently for years. I feel a sneeze coming on. Hold on. Okay. It is a step forward from the situation last week when floods overwhelmed the city's dilapidated water treatment plant and essentially interrupted uh, water supply across the entire city, affecting more than 160,000 residents. Even though emergency efforts have restored running water, questions linger over whether a more lasting solution will materialize. Some of the city's pipes are roughly a century old, and Jackson is also the target of ongoing lawsuits from residents who say its old lead pipes poisoned them and stunted their growth as children. So we're looking at a similar phenomenon here to Flint, Michigan. The crisis has brought focus to America's outdated water infrastructure and whether it is fit for purpose amid climate crisis related weather events of increasing severity. It has also heightened discussions about the role of systemic racism in water infrastructure crises affecting majority Black cities across the country. This water system broke over several years, and I think it would be inaccurate to claim it is totally solved in the matter of less than a week. Mississippi's Republican Governor Tate Reeves said in an update earlier this week, there may be more bad days in the future. We have, however, reached a place where people in Jackson can trust that water will come out of the faucet, toilets can be flushed, and fires can be put out. As of Friday, signs of progress were evident as children in Jackson's public schools returned to their classrooms after spending last week at home learning virtually as they often did earlier in the pandemic. Water quality testing is still in the preliminary stages, even as some residents continue to report coffee-colored water in their taps. Once full testing commences, 2 days of successful testing at numerous sites across the city are needed for health officials to declare Jackson's water safe to drink. But the emergency fixes are just patches on an ailing, aged system that could break at any time, as it did during a 2021 winter freeze that left residents without water for nearly a month. Jackson's persistent water problems make daily life hard for residents and business owners alike. That includes boil water notices that can last weeks or more. Before the most recent failure, John Tier, who owns Johnny T's Bistros and Blues in downtown Jackson, said his business was already losing thousands of dollars due to spending weeks under a boil water notice. First, you're going to have to start a couple of hours early. That's already labor in itself, whatever you're paying per hour, he told the Mississippi Free Press in late August. You got to get in and start boiling water for everything that you're going to be using in that service. Not only do we have to boil water just to wash dishes for the bar for glasses, but there's the $200 or $300 a day in ice purchases, canned sodas, bottled water, things of that nature. State officials are discussing a number of possible solutions for a permanent fix, including privatizing Jackson's water system. Privatization is on the table, Governor Reeves said earlier this week. The city's Democratic mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, has also discussed hiring private contractors to operate and maintain the water system. Okay, guys, we're almost done here. Privatizing water infrastructure may well prove controversial. Jackson's own recent experience with a private corporation proved disastrous for the city after it contracted with the German multinational conglomerate Siemens in 2010 to install water meters and oversee its water billing system. But Siemens' system was faulty, and residents would go for months without receiving water bills, while others received enormous bills far exceeding their usage. The deal cost the city tens of millions in unpaid water fees and prompted a lengthy lawsuit that recovered only a portion of what the city lost after legal fees. The debacle cost the city precious resources that could have gone toward improving the old water systems. We have to make sure that we have a billing system in place that everyone who receives water receives a bill, Governor Reeves told The Guardian. Officials say Jackson needs more than $1 billion to fix its underlying problems and prevent a repeat of the 2021-22 crises. But in a city where residents often have to drive around the same potholes filled with old tires and orange traffic barrels for years, that kind of money is not easy to come by. This week, federal and local officials who gathered in the beleaguered city said it needed to produce a plan for overhauling its water systems so that the Mississippi and the national governments can assess its need to provide help. Michael Regan, the EPA administrator, said that Jackson could be eligible for tens of millions of U.S. government loans in addition to funds under Joe Biden's recent infrastructure package. But we need to see a plan that demonstrates how those resources will be spent and what they will be spent on. On August 29th, Mayor Lumumba vowed to appoint a full-scale committee of individuals that are working toward the execution and production of that plan. As of September 9th, he still had not done so. Though the water problems are becoming more acute as the infrastructure ages, the issue has bedeviled Jackson leaders for decades, often prompting complaints that state leaders were not doing enough to help their capital city. In an interview with The Guardian, the former Jackson mayor, Harvey Johnson, who served from 1997 to 2005 and again from 2009 to 2013, warned that even a properly funded plan could take decades to execute. I think if you're talking about the water system, obviously you need a plan that depicts what is required to make improvements to the system. And typically that's over a 20-year period, he said. I think that's sort of being lost in the whole discussion. None of this takes place over a short period of time. Okay, that's that. I'm done reading. I think that's the mayor. Yeah, that's the mayor of Jackson right there, alongside EPA Administrator Michael Regan and the Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. So that's Chokwe Antar Lumumba. Okay, I didn't know they had a black mayor. All right, I only have a few viewers here. If someone wants to, if anything I've read, if someone wants to come up and say something, I'll drop the link there. If not, I will shut this down. It's been an hour. And I want to thank everyone who watched this and listened to me read. The link is there if anyone wants to come and say something about water, about immunizations, about anything. You're welcome to do so now. Alonzo says, privatization of the water supply sounds like India. Aquateki says, Baltimore's water billing system leaves much to be desired. Okay, so Alonzo has joined me. What's going on, Alonzo?
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I think Aquateki said it best in the chat about the America not really spending much on our infrastructure. And I think that's one of the large problems that we're seeing in all major areas, especially predominantly Black areas, that don't seem to be even able to allocate the funds to certain concerns.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Jackson, it's a heavy topic now in the news, but if you look at the article, it's been for a number of years
Yeah.
that they've been, and they've been suffering. And only now is it really coming to national, like, if you understand, if we look at things on a national level. Salute to she. So I think, I don't know, that's one of the challenges of America, right? Because if you look at what you were reading about the articles in China, there is manufacturing and that's something, America, we don't have an export. What is our export? Brittany Griner? But, so globally, we're in a precarious position.
Mm-hmm.
Because Americans are consumers. Like China is, they have, what was it, closed quarter or underground, closed loop? Yeah. So whatever a closed loop facility is, those are things that are interesting on a global level, and if we're looking at a country or a continent like Asia, but a country like China that has like 3 billion in population,
Mm-hmm.
compared to our 300 million. Like there was a comparison and they were saying, well, there's like with the people burning LeBron James's jersey, and they were saying, yeah, well, there's 300 million NBA fans in China. There's 300 million Americans. So, as China goes, the rest of the world, we should really be concerned because they do have export. Most of the stuff we buy is made in China.
Right.
Or Bangladesh. So there is a concern, like in major cities like New York, like DC, where, we still have, some highfalutin people,
Yep.
but I'm sure they have closed loop facilities for all them to get into. And, there may be pandemonium,
Yeah. Are you talking about in the non-highfalutin areas?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, well, even in the upper echelon areas or the highfalutin areas, there's still, plausibility for collateral damage.
I'm sorry, say that again.
There's always a possibility of collateral damage and things spilling out, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, there was a place, I believe it's somewhere in Los Angeles, that's like a project building, but if you stare across the water, it's the most expensive real estate in San Francisco. I think it's San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly where, but I know it was in California. And so that proximity, if things get too out of hand, can be dangerous. Because when you look at things like Jackson, they're going to have to start going places to get their water.
Right.
Right. And we've seen evidence of that with toilet paper and the beginning of, the outbreak, if you will.
Right.
So, I'll try to kind of pinpoint it back into the specific topics, but, that China thing really got me to thinking, just, especially on an economic level,
Mm-hmm.
and how things are affected. Like, these are large corporations I don't know if you saw the thing about the real estate in China. There's a bunch of people who have purchased mortgages, and these homes are completely incomplete, and they're living in squalor,
Wow.
but they're still having to pay their mortgages.
Oh, wow. No, I was unfamiliar with that.
Yeah, that's something crazy. You should check into that. I saw that article last month sometime, but I should start reading my articles again too. But that, he said China is the world's factory. Exactly. So, they were mentioning, Volkswagen and I can't remember Toyota,
Mm-hmm.
um, as two major manufacturers, right? Now we talk about things like investing in Tesla, but if you go around and look in the street, how many Teslas do you see compared to how many Toyotas or Fords do you see?
Well, right
Right?
now they're in the minority. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Um, but I guess the hope is eventually that there'll be more Teslas than petroleum fueled cars. I think that's the hope, or the aim.
that makes sense. I didn't say it didn't make sense, but in
Yeah,
today's climate,
yeah. But today there are still more cars using petroleum than lithium ion batteries. Speaking of which, in about a week, everyone, I'm going to have someone here who is trying to shepherd that effort on a political level. He's going to come and talk about that, the push for electric cars. So that's going to be interesting. So hopefully, if you can't watch it live, hopefully you watch that on the playback.
all right.
Okay. Alonzo, while you're here, having these water infrastructure problems, are there any? Does this tie into the insurance world in any way? I mean, certainly you're going to have more unhealthy people, but does this tie into the insurance world in any way?
Absolutely. So one of the things that you're looking at is bonds, right? And how municipalities are going to be able to raise money is going to be things like bonds. And insurance companies invest in bonds, and that's how they grow your cash value.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so they hedge it because they use certain policies actually hedge it. I'll talk about that later, but most policies that are cash value accumulating are investing in bonds, and municipal bonds are generally favorable because they can tend to be shorter terms,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and like these municipalities need this money, and insurance companies are very solvent. Therefore, they're able to invest in things such as that. Um, so also things like the market is changing or not the market itself, but inflation is changing and interest rates are changing. So
Mm-hmm.
as interest rates are increasing, that's actually positive for certain retirement accounts like annuities, because those interest rates or growths are increasing depending on the indexes that they're following.
Okay.
Now, there's also the aspect of property insurance. So now you're looking at insuring the infrastructures. For example, um, a lot of contractors are bidding for government contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So when they bid for these government contracts and they land these government contracts, not all firms are equipped to do the job that they're contracted for. So then you get things like crumbling highways. And that infrastructure obviously needs to be insured, because you can't have an interstate breakdown, or if you do, you have to have the money to then secure the budget to reestablish that. So those policies tend to be very complex, but that's a different aspect of insurance.
Okay. Okay. She'd asks, what about disability insurance from getting sick from the
The water problem.
the water? I think you meant water. Yeah.
Yeah. That is actually a very good question. That I'm not positive, because that's very down to a very, like, that would be very specific policies and very, like, that's very intricate. Yeah, I assume from the water. Yeah, that's a hard one, because, like, there's so many variables to a disability policy. And then it's going to be like, well, what did the water cause, and why did it cause this, and was that the only reason, and were there underlying conditions? And then they put you through the rigmarole. Then you have to go see their doctors. So
Okay. All right. Let's see. Alonso, do you have anything else?
no, I was just, again, the China thing was really what caught my attention.
Yeah.
Just
So going back to what you and Akweteki were talking about, Akweteki stated that China is the factory. China is the world's factory. So yeah, in theory, yeah, if China slows down, if China breaks down, it sounds like they're having their economic woes there. I mean, everything is interconnected, so we could at some point feel that over here. I mean, certainly through the supply chains, but other aspects as well. But I think it's interesting that they've completely, it sounds like they're really locking down. They're not allowing anyone in, and they're shutting down some of their districts. So whatever it is that's happening over there sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, that's what's scary. Again, just looking at things from a global aspect, but because, like you said, especially things like Volvo, those are construction vehicles, right? Volvo, basically Volvo and Mercedes, like the big haulers that they used for, like, constructing cities, right? And a lot of cities don't have the funds to buy these $10 million machines. Jackson needed $1 billion to reroute their infrastructure, right? So then they were also talking about the private. I'm sorry to continue on, but they were also talking about the privatization of the water supply. And that's very dangerous, right? Places like India already do that.
So, Alonso, I don't understand why that's dangerous. Why is that dangerous?
Well, again, places like India already do that, and they have, for Coca-Cola and Pepsi, almost created a complete drought for most of the rest of the local society in certain areas. And they use all that water to produce Coke and Pepsi products.
Mm-hmm.
And now, the natives are without water for, not just drinking, but other purposes as well. And it's privatized, so the government isn't coming in and regulating it and saying, hey, you got to give the natives water. Now, if you're very rich, I'm sure you can, buy your water. But it's very similar to here, how, I don't drink tap water. I have to have Poland Spring, and I have it delivered to my door once a month. You know what I mean? So I have a flushing toilet, And people in Jackson aren't having that, and they're talking about privatizing it. So think about again how that can affect people in hoity-toity areas.
Okay.
Highfalutin.
Okay, I think Akoteki kind of captured it here. He says, which is what you said, privatization equals for profit motives. So the company's gonna take care of its own interests first, and then the public second. Basically.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Akoteki says at the expense of the public good. Okay. All right. Alonzo, do you have anything else?
No, man, you know my thing. When people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.
Okay.
Thanks, God.
Okay. Yeah, well, I gotta have you back sometime to talk. Some more about the insurance world and whatever's happening there. Oh, he's gone. Okay. Well, I got to have you back over on my original channel to talk about the insurance world and what's happening over there, as that's an important topic. We should all be more knowledgeable about chaos. You always come in when I'm getting ready to shut down. Okay. Always comes in when I'm just about ready to shut things down. Okay. So guys, yeah, so in about a week, I am going to have someone here to talk about electric cars and why those are important, and an effort that he is working on to make electric cars more prevalent. So he said he's available to do it at 10 in the morning. That's on a Monday. I know that's going to conflict with some other content creators. But she says he always does that on all the other channels. Okay, so Chaos, that's your calling card. Okay. But if you have questions or comments about electric cars, if you think they're a good idea, if you think they're a bad idea, please join us. Because I'll be looking to learn some things myself about those cars and the industry, and where the future of our automotive industry. I'm curious about where the future is going. I've heard good things about electric cars and that they don't use the petroleum products, but I've also heard that there's an underside to the electric cars that is not being discussed in an effort to get everyone to buy in. So I have to admit, I don't know everything about electric cars and Teslas and other. So now he's backstage. Okay. I am ready to shut down. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut down. Hey man, dude, I've been on for like an hour and 20 minutes. I've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. All right, I'm gonna shut down. Everyone, thank you to those who watched. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. All right, I'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I got 5 on me. What's good, Dr. Fun? Dr. Mbar. I'm just gonna keep it short. You know, I'm not long with it. How I go about it. Yeah, there's gonna be crisis, and that's all. Structure and plan for a greater, more deeper rabbit hole.
Are we talking about the water crisis?
Yes, that and many other crises to possibly to come, and also distractions. I'm not going to distractions because we're gonna wind this down. But one thing I want to say, electric cars. Your friend, is he works for Tesla?
He does not. I believe he is in the government sector. So I can't tell you all a lot right now.
That's fine.
But he's involved with green initiatives and environmental initiatives. So he's going to be pro electric cars.
Because I noticed in California they are, and we know the state of California is different from all other states, that they're pushing it and they're going to make it a reality in the next 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is, like anything, price is going to go high, and eventually people are going to if they have the money or they could get it, they're going to have to go to electric eventually. You know, because when things are too much out of their pockets, they're going to say, what is the next best vehicle? Remember, Dr. Dunbar, in certain states, you do need a vehicle to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Unless people got money for Uber. And trust me, I don't ride Uber. And I look at the money amount of Uber, and I'm saying, I'd rather still stick with driving if it's still presented to me, personally. But that's just me when I do the math. You know. So if money is going to be the issue with these vehicles, they're going to eventually have to make them a little bit more affordable and entice people, because getting this is much better, not economically, but we're putting laws in place that you're eventually going to have to transition. Because as we which I don't think we're going to move away anytime soon, that of maintaining vehicles are going to go up. And that's how you control the market. So that's all I'm going to say. You can shut down, Dr. Dunbar. Thank you for bringing
it up. Looking at Sheed here. Sheed, I don't think Sheed thinks I should have let you up.
Well, you know, she's another individual. He's a cool man. But like I said, any content you're doing at a certain timetable, I'm going to tune in just to hear the side of the more deeper scientific aspects of why people should invest in an electric car. You know, if you have enough, what's wrong with owning? I think one of the issues they have complaint is the automation part of it, like the sensor and all stuff. That is it really safe? And like I said, once we have the 5Gs up and running, it should slowly eliminate those problems. There's still gonna be some problems if you're gonna go automatic with a vehicle, but still, it's here already. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I heard there's going to be issues with disposing of the batteries. I mean, I don't know a lot.
Well, if that depends, because we use batteries still today. Is there a problem from the existing batteries we use? Not the cars, but batteries in general. Can it be disposed?
These are ion batteries, I believe. I don't. You know what? I don't want to speculate because I don't know enough about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So UFO Kamikaze says, and thank you for still being here, UFO. He says advances in batteries and solar charging are the keys to making electron volts a stable long-term solution. Okay, but what I've heard is that right now the disposal of the batteries is something that is the underside of this that the people who are pushing it are not talking about.
Okay. Only time will tell. I think how you going to dispose of anything that's used to recharge, yeah, that could be concern. If you remember in the Japanese crisis back almost 11 years ago when the radiation went underwater, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they have really found ways to start to correct that, because they did some havoc in the oceans in that part of Asia. So if disposing certain high toxic things like batteries and stuff, depending what they're made of, that could pose even greater problem. So I think what's going on, we're making more bigger problems to fix as time progresses. You know, they're talking about they want to be friendly environmental, but you're not showing how you dispose of things that are not friendly environmental over the long haul.
Right.
Century. So
yeah, I think energy production of any kind is going to create some sort of waste.
Yeah.
And should I say energy consumption of any kind is going to create some sort of waste on the back end. So what do you do with that waste product?
What do you do with waste? She said, can it be refurbished? That's a good question. I gotta Google it. I gotta look up some videos of batteries can be reused and refurbished. I never heard of any battery being refurbished. Personally.
Okay. Well, Chaos
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sheed, one more question here. You said look up North Dakota and the plastic in the water. Are you saying that North Dakota is going through its own water crisis with plastic? If so, that's interesting because I haven't heard anything about it. Just because I haven't heard anything about it doesn't mean that it's not going on, because we know that things are going on and certain things are just not covered the way they should be covered. So I think that's what you're getting at, but I will look it up. I had no idea that that was an issue in North Dakota. I know they're doing a lot of drilling up there. I know they're doing, well, they were doing a lot of drilling and petroleum production up there in the Dakotas, but I didn't know there was a plastics problem. Okay, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and shut this string down. There have been a couple of things in the news that I wanted to cover, and there are a couple of things that happened since I was last live here. So I just wanted to come up and do something. So in the future, yeah, I want to have more guests on, more interesting guests of other disciplines and from other walks of life, some who don't even look like me. So look for that. So Coco Tigress says microplastic is an issue globally. Okay. So we're going to have, okay, microplastics. Okay. If you're new to the stream, Coco Tigress, thank you for stopping through. I've never seen you before. If you're new here, the algorithm brought you here. Please hit that subscribe button. I don't know why I lost a few over the last couple of weeks, but I dipped back below 1,200. If you're new here, please help put me back over 1,200. Please smash that like button. Please share the content. Please tell someone about me. If you're new, oh yeah, if you're new, do you have a STEM background, Coco Tigris? Are you a scientist? Or an engineer or an educator or something? Or you one of Sheed's people? Sheed has his own tribe. And Sheed, thank you the other day for those kind words about my content on your channel. Appreciate that. If you're new here and you want to make a donation, let me slow down. If you want to make a donation, if you're new, I'm not, Coco Tigris, I'm not singling you out here for my fundraising bit. I'm not singling you out. Oh, you're a research scientist, Coco Tigris. Which area? Tell me which area. Are you in the biological sciences? Are you in the technologies? Are you a physicist? What area? I'm always looking for guests. If you're new here and you want to make a donation, Coco Tigris, I'm not singling you out here for fundraising. Well, my Cash App and PayPal are here. And I'm also a writer. So I have a newsletter, materials engineering. Oh, that sounds fascinating. Okay, well, I'm always looking for guests. I can be emailed for this. If I can find it. It used to be in here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that second line, you can email me there. I have a Big Words blog site Facebook page, and that's my Twitter handle right there. And that's my Instagram handle right there at the bottom. And I'm also on TikTok now as well. But yeah, that email address right there, my Twitter handle or my IG handle are right there. She says, Coco, just look at the channel. Okay. UFO Kamikaze says, I have a client who's a nuclear engineer for General Electric. Thank you. Yeah, sure. UFO Kamikaze. Yeah, I want it'll be better if I mix in guests as opposed to asking you guys to listen to me talk and read all the time. So I want to have more guests. So yeah, please definitely do that. The Big Words LLC Newsletter, in addition to being a YouTube content creator, I am also a writer. The link to my newsletter is there. If you haven't signed up, please consider joining. I could always use more names. The newsletter is here. There's a 2-paragraph greeting, and then there's the subscription button at the bottom. Though some people have contacted me through this email address here. So you can actually write me at that Gmail account there as well and say, hey, put my name on the list, please. Or I'd like to be a part of your newsletter, a part of the audience. So either way, the subscription button or that email address there, which is this. This is the email address right here. Okay. Folks are filing out, so I'm going to file out. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. She says, I will check it out. Okay, thank you. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be safe out there. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Oh, by the way, before I go, also please take a look back at my discussion, which is the video or the video before this one. Check out my interview with Timothy Newsom. He owns New Tech Business Solutions. I stopped off in Dallas to interview him, and he says in that segment, he says some very interesting things about starting his business, how to start a business, and also learning computer languages, what newbies should set out to learn. We talk about some pretty interesting things there, but at the very least, we talk about some of the keys to starting a business based upon your particular knowledge or expertise. So, all right, everyone. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.